What's going on, boxing fans? Putting another blog on my YouTube channel. In today's blog, I'm gonna talk about, of course, Bernard Hopkins defending his belt, heavyweight belt, and that whole fight card. Um, Currently making this video in my office, so I'm not gonna talk too loud and do any of my famous expressions like "fuck your couch." um, but clear up, we just finished just talk about boxing as a whole. Bernard Hopkins, the oldest man to ever defend his belt. I mean, clearly you got to give a bit. You definitely got to give a bit props up to him. His name used to be Bernard the Executioner Hopkins, but now he's going by the alien because he must have that alien blood in him. But not only that, the whole fight card was very interesting. Saturday on Showtime. I thought it was a great event. I thought that Bernard Hopkins, he actually put on a show. I wasn't expecting that from him. He going out and actually fighting with the dude. At times and spurts fighting with him. I listened to the post interview conversation that he had after he did his post press conference, where he was saying that he was pleading with the judge to stop the match because he's beating up on his opponent. um, then he went over to the corner. And I saw it. I saw it when I was watching the fight. Of course, I didn't know what he was saying, but I actually saw him, talking to the corner. You knew he was saying something to the his opponent's corner. But in his post fight, he's pretty much said he was pleading with his corner to stop the fight. And as he was doing that, his corner wouldn't stop it. So he went up there and just started tagging him again and started, putting the ones and twos on him. I thought it was very interesting. I also, one of the things I noticed as he was putting on the show, he actually he looked over to Adrian Brunner, who was supposed to be the next up and coming boxing star after Mayweather leaves. And he looked at him like, yeah, the old man still can put on the show. And here you have this guy who's I don't know, he's almost close to 50 maybe, 49, 48, somewhere around there, still defending his light heavyweight champion and defending it well, where this guy who was only 30 couldn't even touch him. It's not like it's not like Bernard Hopkins was fighting another old fighter. No, clearly that wasn't the case. He was fighting his mandatory light heavyweight. Wasn't even being touched. So you definitely have to say, I thought that was very interesting. Another show that one of the cards that I was kind of looking to see if what more can I learn about was Deontay Wilder.
What does she want?
Um, so far, he don't fought 30 fights. He got 30 KOs now. I mean, but his opponent, Fritherin, pushed him to the limit. Really pushed him to the limit. And I thought that was, well, I don't think he pushed him to the limit, but he made him bring out more than just a jab, right. He had to do his uppercut.
I think that would be hilarious.
And his left. I was watching a couple one of the Ellie Sitback videos on Sunday where one of the trainers that he on the gym that he normally always go to, I forgot the guy's name, was like, well, he's not impressed with Wilder because he's not showing anything but power in both hands. He's like, well, what happened when you stand up and you see what happened when you have a guy who doesn't get knocked out because you have power? What other pieces do you have? So he wasn't impressed with him. And I was, I went back and I watched the fight again. I was like, well, of course, he showed more than just power. He showed adversity as well. The guy came out and just jumped on him, almost like how Roy Jones got jumped on by the Road Runner, if you know who that is, Glenn Johnson. When Glenn Johnson beat Roy Jones. And he just jumped on him. He went out and he went to him. He said, I'm going balls out to the wall and I'll fight you. So, I mean, it was You know, Wilder, he showed his calm, collect. You know, he still had this thought process about him. He stuck to his game plan. You know, he didn't go out there and just try to brawl with the guy. He still boxed him. He still showed his jab. He still showed his right. But he also threw a up. He showed his uppercut and his left hook. And he started hooking off the jab as well. You know, yeah, they was almost clubbing, and he might need to get the distance to straighten those punches out and throw a great connect. But nevertheless, they were still connecting. Um, he, he impressed me a little bit. You know what I like, but I still would like to see Wilder step up and fight some known heavyweights, someone who's supposed to give him a challenge. I would have said Seth Mitchell, but I don't think Seth Mitchell is in the class with Wilder right now after his last loss. But I still want to see him step up, and you can't blame Wilder for not stepping up. He don't fought 30 times. Unfortunately, it's not that many great American heavyweights now. You know, um, but I still like to see him fight the winner out of Tyson Fury and David Haye. Whoever wins on that, I would definitely like to see Wilder fight one of those two guys. You know, someone who's just as big as Dwight. As Wilder. Someone who's smart in the ring, with, like David Haye. Someone who can set traps and think in the rings and just not gonna browse out with you and go balls to the wall where you fighting, but you're gonna have to actually box and do more things. Um, I would like to see the winner he fight the winner or even the loser for that point. Um, I forgot I forgot the guy name who just beat Seth Mitchell, the Mexican who got beat up by Klitschko, but he got hard. Definitely got a lot of hard. I can't. His name is slipping my mind right now. But the one who just fought Seth Mitchell's and won, I'd love to see him fight that guy. Right now, I just can't think of his name. Um, but as far as Saturday night, that definitely was a much more improvement fight than what I thought Wilder can fight. I didn't know if he can go past just slugging and catching you with a couple of good punches and jabbing, but he definitely proved me wrong. Um, the second co-event of the evening was Coolin. Coolin defending his middleweight belt, and that fight, Coolin didn't impress me. He really didn't. Um, he didn't impress me. And to me, I mean, the judges in that fight had Coolin winning a lot, way by a lot. It's almost like one of those judges' robbery if they would have went the distance. But Rosendahl was actually bringing the fight to Coolin. It took him a couple of rounds to get adjusted, maybe like 3 or 4 rounds. And during those 3 or 4 rounds, yes, Coolin did win those rounds. But once he got adjusted, he started bringing the fight to Coolin. I thought he had tempo. He was fighting when he wanted to fight. He was pressing him. He had Coolin backing up the whole fight. Coolin, it could be maybe I don't know a lot about him. You know, he's he has power in both hands from what I understand, but his power wasn't affecting Rosendahl. It just wasn't affecting him. Rosendahl was going for the belt. He was trying to go for the belt. I felt like they shouldn't stop the fight. Not when they did. I mean, of course, he had a bad cut over his eye. It was a gruesome cut, by the way, off a jab. You would think that would be like off a right hand or something, but it was just off a jab. Quilla jabbed into the eye and just cut his eye open. But he had a bad cut over his right eye, and I can see stopping the fight once he went to the ring and trying to give the corner time to work on his eye, which they did, and then they pulled him over and had, the doctors looked at it and told him he can fight. And the ring, and the fight started for the next round, and he got punched to the eye one time, and then they pulled him back and was like, "Nah, look at his eye again." At that point, you already committed yourself to the round. The guy clearly saying, "I can see it's not affecting me. Blood is not getting in my eye." You can hear him pleading with the doctor. So at that point, personally, I would have let it go into that last round and see what he was gonna do. And if he didn't do anything, then probably would have stopped the fight then, because it was a bad cut. But championship round, you never know. It seemed like he had Quillen on a run almost. Like Quillen was almost in survival mode. I mean, I don't think he was hurt with anything. I think more fatigue wise and just the pressure that was getting put on Quillen. Quillen was almost like, this guy won't stop pressuring him, but I understand the whole point of caution for the fighters, and sometimes you got to protect the fighters from themselves. But I think it was one of those judgment calls where that eye was still looking the same when you let them out the corner. So if you let them out the corner to fight, then go ahead and get the fight. Let them at least fight for another round to see if it would have got worse, or he would have just got bloody up even more. Because of course, Cullen, he was tagging that eye. He was targeting the eye to make him stop the fight, which is a smart move on Cullen's part, and should have been done. But at that point, you just definitely have to let him fight that last round, and then let them stop it on the stool. If that eye never got better, or they couldn't stop the bleeding or anything, which they probably couldn't. But I mean, as far as stopping it, yes, I think you should have stopped it a little bit earlier. If you were gonna stop it in the corner before they came out. But if you let them come out, then let them fight that round. These, at the end of the day, these are soldiers. They are fighters. They train hard for 3 or 4 months for this. Let them go for what they know. But I definitely must admit, Bernard Hopkins definitely surprised me. Definitely surprised me through this whole fight. Normally I'm not a big Bernard Hopkins fan. A lot of his fights have been kind of boring. He'll smother him or he'll outbox him and class him up. But I mean, you gotta look on the man history, man. He still defending his belt. Still defending his belt. Now, at the age of 50, you gotta give the man heart for that. You gotta give the man credit for that. And it's not like he's fighting chumps. He's fighting mandatory. He's fighting people who they said shouldn't win. He shouldn't win against. He's always the underdog, and he's coming about, and he's not even looking tired. I'm trying to figure out what he's doing for cardio, because maybe I need to go on his workout program. Because his cardio is just astounding. It's not even looking like he's tired. Not only is he not looking like he's tired, but he's not looking like he's getting hit in the fight, period. So, I mean, what can you do at this point? You just got to sit back and be like, give him a round of applause. I mean, for real, I don't see nobody that can beat this dude. I wonder who's gonna beat him. I wonder if he's just going right now. I don't see nobody who's gonna beat this dude. But not right now. Stevenson might be a good shot for him. I kind of would like to see Bernard Hopkins and Stevenson go at it. The guy from Canada, the pimp, because that's what he was.
One down.
Pimp.
Here we go.
The guy from Canada. I would definitely like to see him go at it. And Bernard Hopkins. I want to see how Bernard Hopkins handles someone like him. Because Stevenson proved a lot that he can actually box, and he got power in both hands as well. And not only can he slug, he can also box. But as far as mind games, I don't think he can play mind games with Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins, he's too old school for that. He goes in with that big old head and he gonna knock you around and he does dirty tactics. But hey, he just does that to get up under your skin. So I mean, definitely gonna see. But let me know what you guys think. I thought it was an excellent fight. Let me know if y'all think I'm full of shit. Tell it to me. You agree with me? Hear from you. All right then. And then you got the guy right there who's in my YouTube video right now. Just see, that's why you can't do stuff like this at work. All right.